Okay, so now that I've finished reviewing all of the chapters of Beastars, all the way from chapter 1 to chapter 196, I feel weird. I feel lighter. And now, I'm free to be the bastard I was meant to be and branch off and do other things. So, we are going to be playing To the Moon. That's like, you know, a start. It's been sitting in Steam for so long, I might as well. And plus, one of you requested that I do that too. So one of you suggested it to me. So that's what we're going to be doing first, To the Moon. But before that, having a couple issues with audio and what's it called, screen resolution and OBS. So when we work that out, we'll be getting our playthrough of To the Moon out in parts. But until then, I decided we are going to be doing a tier list now. Now that it's ended, I just had so many thoughts about the characters, missed opportunities, and just so much. Because that ending just felt rushed. So, and it just got me thinking about the characters and their place in the world and where they stood and how would I rank them. So I just thought, let's just get it all out there and just make a tier list. Mileage may vary on this because this is how I would rank the characters personally, based on their contribution to the story, how much they actually showed up, and basically just overall impact on the story. That's how I'm gonna rate them, all the way from Power Police Elite to God tier. And there are very few characters I consider God tier in Beastars, but we'll get there when we get there. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it with our Beastars character tier list. So, each of these... Alright, so I believe this is a complete list. As complete as it's going to get. So, let's just jump into it and see how we're going to do this. So, I guess I'll just pick randomly. Right out the bottom. Okay, so starting off, Akko. An interesting... Actually, no. Akko wasn't interesting at all. So I'd say, all she did was, okay. So she's a pair. So it's Akko and Akko's boyfriend, the lion, right? Pretty much, these two were just a lesson to further Haru's development as a character, and lead her back to legacy when she felt like she was growing too distant and should leave or whatever. But I'd say Akko and this guy, I'm not even gonna say it was a wasted opportunity, because I don't know, I just felt like it would have been interesting, but at the same time, this is Haru and Legacy story, right? And these two got promptly reminded that these are B characters. So yeah, I'm not gonna say they didn't have an impact, because the scene that these two were in, it was just a reminder of how dangerous Haru and Legacy's relationship actually is. So actually, I'm not even gonna put who is it. I'll just put them as common characters. Yeah. I wonder, man, and it's a shame. Like, is she dead? No, she's not dead. She's still alive. I think that was implied by the ending, but this dude's future is just completely messed up now, and man, he's like another Shishigumi member in the making right here. And her, I don't know. It would be interesting to see if the relationship was expanded on if she lived, but not their story. So okay, next. This was Legacy's co-worker. I don't even remember his name, so we're just gonna put him as who is it. He's a filler character. Now, this is the Inarigumi, one of the Inarigumi members. I'm just gonna put, if I'm ranking the Inarigumi, I wouldn't even say. They had no impact on the story at all. Pretty much, all of them were just fodder, so Melon and Legacy could finally fight, right? They really didn't add anything to the story. Like, the turf war was a big waste of time, in my opinion, to be honest. Yeah, you could have had the story and completely cut out the turf war, and it wouldn't have made a difference. Like, I get what they were trying to do with the Dokugumi right here, the Komodo Dragon gang, but even after Legacy took that beating, it really didn't help him during the turf war at all. Like, sure, he had something to prove to each of these characters except the Madaragumi, right? But overall, the Narigumi rendered Q's training just wasteful. The Dokugumi over here, all it served was just to get Lego's fangs back. And how I thought it was gonna play out was, oh, he gets his fangs back and he kills what's her name? Q, right? But that didn't play out at all. And it didn't really trigger a change in Legacy. He didn't even get his ear back. He just got his teeth back. So just to introduce that point that, oh, yeah, Legacy's immune to Komodo Dragon Venom, but it also gives him like super healing ability. That's cool, but he kept his scars. Didn't grow back his ear, just his teeth. So I don't know, it's just pretty wasteful. Because having characters like this participate in the turf, I'm wondering, how did they not win the turf war? Like, we've seen how OP Komodo dragons are just because Gosha exists over here, right? So I'm just like, how are these guys not the king? Like, of the back alley market with what they can do and how much they can heal, right? And if anything, Legacy was could have been a proper liaison, representing both Komodo, representing the Komodo dragon, since he's a Komodo dragon hybrid. So there was that potential, but there was just so much that just didn't get expanded on. And as for the Inarigumi, I'm not sure what their purpose really. Just to see Legacy fight a female and how he's come to see females as equal and fight them on their terms as a cross-dressing wolf, I guess. All of them have faced discrimination. Well, we don't know what the Madaragumi's deals were. The Madaragumi's deal is, but these two have faced. I'd say the Komodo dragons face more discrimination than the Inarigumi, but that's just me. Anyway, all these guys, since they didn't have an impact in the story, I'd say probably just delete them. Yeah, I'd probably say just delete them. It was pretty pointless for them being there. They're just fodder characters, in my opinion. So next, I have no idea who this is. Oh, wait, no. This is the leader of the 500 Cornered Rats, right? I'm not even going to say they were good characters. They had a really good backstory. I love their backstory and how they came to work for Yafia. But they also suffer, well, they're like his Alfred, right? They're okay, but they don't really have a personality of their own, right? It would have actually been really cool to see Yafia like utilize his the 500 Corner Rats a lot more, because you basically have like a whole spy network around the city with these guys here. So I'd say they more so just underutilized. Okay, next. This guy right here had the potential to be a good character. This was the little civet. I forgot his name, but he's a civet, right? And he basically was used to make, his poop was used to make the blood-bone drug. And there was a little subplot where he was sending his bats to kill little hybrid children. Or I think that's what was being implied. Or he wanted to study hybrids because he was interested in Melon. This, I feel like he had the potential to be an interesting character if we didn't go to that whole B plot with the, no, if we didn't go to the turf war, he could have been an interesting character because he was doing research and he came to the conclusion that hybrids were dangerous because people like Melon exist. So I don't know, it was a little back and forth as to whether his bats just wanted to get some of their blood as samples, or if there was another faction that was actually going around, killing hybrid children. I think I'm just gonna lean towards he actually was killing hybrid kid children, and that's why Gosha got involved because he knew what they were. That's what I think. So this is a sinister character, but he didn't appear enough, and even then, the civet when he the entire reason I need water. So. Yeah, much better. The entire reason why they went to the civet was to find out information on Melon's weakness, right? And they really didn't get anything that was useful to him. That whole plot point just got thrown out the window in the story, right? And even then, he worked at a school, which made you think like, oh, okay, so they're setting up drama between Legacy and Haru and Melon, who works at that school. But no, turned out to be pointless because Melon ended up getting fired anyway, so it wasn't much of a secret to keep. It wasn't much of a secret anymore since he didn't work there. What, Melon's a professor? That's a secret? That's it? That sucked. So it's like, you might as well just, I'm not gonna say delete, just wasted potential. It's a one and done thing. Who is this? Perfect for him. Okay, moving on. This is the goat that ate his script. And then that was it. All he served was just to make Louis fall off the stage and hurt his leg, which set up more stage drama down the line. Unremarkable. So next. This is Legosi's roommate, one of the 701 boys. Unremarkable character, not much to say. Next, also an unremarkable character. I'm just gonna put who is it. I know who it is. It's from that chapter right before Legosi and Yafia infiltrated Melon's nightclub or whatever to apprehend him. She wasn't really an interesting character. So, yeah, moving on. Next, Tim the alpaca. Man. Okay, so I have a feeling Beastars eventually deviated from what it was supposed to be, right? Because at first it was supposed to be, I feel like it was setting up to be this slice of life mystery drama about talking animals in their society, right? But then it deviated from that once we left school and became something completely different. So Tim started it all. He was our our first point of view character of this world that they live in. So I'm just gonna put Tim as a common character because his death, like, for as important as his death was, he lived a pretty unremarkable life. But it served the purpose of motivating Legacy. Kinda. At least, not even at the start, because his whole death just kind of got put off until like the second arc. No, like the third arc, where we actually focus on Tim's killer. Yeah, because the first arc was just like the school play, and then the second arc was the raid on the Shishigumi base, and then we go to Tim's killer. So, yeah. Unremarkable character. But he did have a underlying compassion for carnivores until, his fear got the best of him, and he said some harsh words to Riz, and yeah, met an untimely demise. But he even served the purpose of motivating Louis as well. I wish. Okay, so in regards to that, I completely forgot about that. He motivated Louis too. I wish we got shown more of Tim via flashback or something, just to be like, oh yeah, this person was important to the not the carnivores. This person did impact a lot of people at the school for, this reason or that reason, but We didn't really know much about Tim, but Legosi and Louis seems to care a lot. I wish we learned why though. So that's why I'm putting him as a common character. His death was just a motivating factor. Next, Tao. Sit up. Okay. So for Tao, I put him as a common character. Like, he really didn't have an impact on the story at all. The only reason he's common is because I remember his name. So, not only that, if I put Tao here, that means I'm also going to put Kibi here as well. Where's Kibi? Here's Kibi. Because these two didn't get developed a lot, but I'd say what's keeping them up afloat in common character tier is their friendship, right? Because Tao ripped off Kibi's arm, and Kibi forgave Tao, and you got to see the bond that they eventually started to like develop even further, like as friends, like really good friends, despite it all. So, and it was paid off beautifully at the end as well, Beastars. So, I like to see it. So that's why they're common. I don't remember this guy's name, but he works with Legosi at the ramen shop. Next, I totally forgot her name, but I'm just gonna call her the cheetah. I'm gonna put her as a good character, right? She had one chapter to herself with that with that other sheep character, not Sabun. But I love seeing characters when they get out of their comfort zone, right? Because the whole theme of Beastars, one of the themes is like discrimination off of first appearances, right? Preconceived notions and whatnot. This character went out of her way to actually get to know one of the herbivores, and the herbivore actually got to know her as well, and they got to see that they weren't so, despite their differences, they weren't so different, right? So that's why I'm putting her as a good character. Just because we spent time with her and all that. So, next. The guy in charge of the stage, one of the professors, I forgot. The drama club teacher, I forget. Next, one of those girls that was bullying Haru served no purpose other than to be mean. And the same goes with Akko. That's not Akko. The Harlequin rabbit, also pretty pointless. Like, if we saw more development from a character like this, actually, no, I take that back. I wouldn't want to see development from a character like this. It would have been interesting if they came back and told like a different story or something, like her relationship drama, and explore it like that. But no, this isn't her. She's not she's not part of the main cast at all. She's just a one and done person. And that goes for her boyfriend too. At least he served the purpose of being there so Legosi could go find Haru. I think that's what happened. Saying something to make Legosi go find Haru. But anyway. Alright. Next. We have one of the Shishigumi members whose name I can't remember. Yeah. I mean, he didn't really do much, but okay, so just because I got to the end, I'm going to group all the Shishigumi members together, almost all of them. I'm going to put them together. So I'm just going to leave him be for now. Because I think that's just the best thing to do. So, I have no idea okay, so I know who this is. This is that, Louis' friend, who grew up with them in the back alley market, right? As livestock. Useless character. Like, we spent a lot of time with Q, but after they were introduced, this guy disappeared off the face of the planet and never got seen again. Like, if he wasn't going to be utilized, he should have just, like, been eaten or something, and then let that serve as a motivation for Q, because, you know, she lost the only person that she, like, knew or something like that before she went going. So his death could have served a purpose, but it didn't, and he just kind of like fell off the face of the manga. So yeah, useless character. Oh, and speaking of useless, why were you even a thing? Actually, no. Here, I'm gonna put him in please delete. Just delete. Just delete. Yeah, delete this guy. Serve no purpose. And speaking of delete, Rokume. Oh my goodness. Also falling into the camp of just being there. A random thing to motivate the main character, because at this point Legoshi completely forgot all about Tim, right? So Rokume served the purpose of getting Legoshi moving, right? And as soon as she appeared, that was it. We never saw Rokume again. And throughout the manga, I was so hopeful Rokume would come back, but you know, this, what's it called, snake lady, just didn't serve any type of purpose. And to add insult to injury, even when Legoshi got locked up, or you know, got predatory offender status, she didn't even show up to vouch for him. It was just like, oh, I'm not, like, I have an idea of who the killer is, but I'm not gonna tell you because you need to figure it out yourself. And add insult to injury even further, Legoshi didn't even get Beastar status from that. Not even a recommendation. Rokume, the most useless. Like, why is this character here? So underutilized. Like, she was there to, like, mention Legoshi. Oh, Legoshi has hidden potential and whatnot. And, which is true, we got to see that later on under his training with Going. But what's the point of a security guard if they never catch anyone? Or, I don't know. And as big as she is, I feel like snakes were also an underutilized species. She faced discrimination because she didn't have any arms or legs, so I'm wondering how they like function in their society. Anyway, moving on. I don't know who this is. Actually, I remember it was that albino crow that was in Legoshi's apartment complex, but also irrelevant. Next. And also, the Rhino from Drama Club, I believe her whole stick was she thinks she sees an angel, like, in her blind spot, but in reality, it's just the horns that she's seeing. Like, I don't know. Like, as Beastars went on, I realized that a lot of interesting stories could have been told by utilizing the Drama Club a lot more, because the members that were chosen for the Drama Club had interesting circumstances in their life, which is why they were selected, right? And it's not really, and I wish it would have been revealed why Legoshi got selected for Drama Club specifically. Did they know, like, he was part Komodo Dragon? At least I don't think they did. Was it his life? I don't know. And that's one of those mysteries. So it's just like, okay, why is Bill there then? Why was Aoba there? Like, what made them get selected for Drama Club? Anyway, moving on. We don't know who this is. Also, Drama Club member, the giraffe. Don't know who she is. Who else? I'll leave the Shishigumi members alone. The hippo. Who is it? Yeah, I wish the stories could have been told. The police officer. Why? Who else? This guy right here. Louis was talking a lot of mess about this guy. I forgot his name. He's the otter. Yeah, he's the otter. I want to know how he messed up, like, his middle school performance, because Louis was throwing shade about that. So, still not that interesting, though. Actually, no. He was adopted. That's why he was in Drama Club. Yeah, but, oh well. Also not interesting, the zebra girl. Who else we got? Also, this person worked with Legoshi. Like, something I wish they that Paru would have did was actually like let Legoshi, because Beastars feels like a slice of life at times, right? It would have been cool to actually see Legoshi hang out with his coworkers after work. Not even in the back alley market. The only reason why he didn't is because they wanted to go eat meat, right? But I don't know. It probably just would have been cool to see like a whole different like segment of Legoshi like hanging out with them and getting to know them. Therefore, opening up the world through their perspective. So that's just one of those things. So wasted opportunity is what I'm saying. Okay, who else we got? The baboon teacher. Not even that. It's the house mother. Like, she basically just existed just to show that they wanted to keep the status quo, right? To show the cowardice of adults in their society and how they didn't want to stir the pot, right? Because after Legoshi came from the Shishigumi raid and he was wounded, came back with Haru, he got reprimanded instead of rewarded for his bravery. So I don't know, it's just one of those things with the adults in this series. It's just like they're just so inflexible. That's how I describe it. But other than that, she didn't really serve a purpose in the series. She's not in the lead status. It's just like, eh. Okay, who else we got? Els. I'm gonna put Els as a good character. Oh man, something I just remembered. Like, it makes it even more sad knowing how Tim died, because in the manga, Tim he was working up the courage to go talk to Els and confess his feelings for, right? And this is what made Beastars good. Tim died not knowing Els had a boyfriend. that was actually a thing. Els had a boyfriend. So that, I don't know, that just served to make Tim's death even sadder, because it would have, like, his love or whatever would have been unrequited. But anyway, Els herself is a good character. It's because I'd say she's the first herbivore who we see acknowledge how she was wrong and how she would like change and be better, right? Because she called Legoshi a mom. It's understandable because she was scared for her life, but at the same time, you get the sense that there's some prejudice there, but under the surface that they're not really talking about. But you see Legoshi is the first person to this is the first person Legoshi influences to be better, and you see how she opens up to like drama club a lot more, and especially she grows a very, very strong bond with Bill as the series goes on. So I put Els as a good character. I just wish we'd spent a little bit more time seeing things from her perspective, but we didn't. But I'd say she's a good character because we see it's understandable how we get from point A to point A from how how Els started in the beginning to point B, how she ended. So I'd say it's pretty satisfying seeing that character progression and how much she cares about the carnivores and the drama club. So yeah. So moving on. Okay. Let's see, who else we got? We don't even know who this is. This anteater. Wait, is that Kiwi? It looks like it's Kiwi. We're just gonna put this here. If I can't identify them, we're just gonna be putting them there. Who else we got? This guy that served no purpose. Is that a... Oh, no. That's a 701 boy. I'm just gonna put the 701 boy as a common character. And I'd say that could go for like most of the 701 boys as well. Let's put him here. Let's put that guy here. I forgot most of their names besides Jack. So we're just gonna put them there. That's not a 701 boy. Who else? Yeah, I'd say that round. Who is this? We don't know who that is. Yeah, I'd say that. Okay, so I'd say our list is down to like the characters with the most meat on their bones. Not this guy. That's just a common character from Drama Club that didn't get any expansion, so he's out. Okay, so let me go back to the 701 boys. I wish. Okay, so I have a little soft spot for the 701 boys because, as I said before, Beastars chapter 123, their tales after images of each other, was my introduction to the series, and it's the entire reason why I started, and I'm doing this. Well, yeah, in hindsight, why I'm doing this tier list because I started Beastars. So I have a soft spot for the 701 boys. They're just like the best boys, and for someone who's been around Legacy as long as they have, right? Pretty much wake up together, eat together, play together, and all that good stuff. Have game nights together. Like his roommates, I really wish we got to know his roommates a lot more and what they go through being members of the of the Canidae species, the canines, right? In the few chapters that we see them in where they go through a little adversity, it's basically outside their control, but like the predation incidents around the city, around the city, that's the only time we see like a range of emotion from them. But other than that, not really remarkable. I wish we saw more of them. I hate to put them there, but they are common outside of Jack. Okay, so moving on. Most of the Shishigumi guys, I have no idea, but because they stick together, I'm gonna group them all together and just put them all in one place. Like, yeah, I think that's fair for the Shishigumi guys. So we're just gonna put them as common characters. These guys really didn't have any like development on their own, so they're just there for fodder. It would make more sense for me to put them as like, who is this? But a Shishigumi's got to stick together, so we're just gonna put them there. This guy is from Legosi's apartment. Completely forgot his name, but he writes like novels or something like that. Yeah, basically, Alright, so Legacy threw a little party where he invited everyone to eat his rice cakes he got from the police. It would have been a perfect opportunity to tell short stories involving, the people who came, to the, what's it called, a potluck or something like that. Give them their own like spin-off or something like that. So it's unfortunate, but they're not main characters, so they just get delegated to being side characters. It's unfortunate, but it's whatever. And the sloth, the Melon's tattoo artist, absolutely terrifying, but he was just a one-off guy. He had no impact on the story other than leading Legacy into a trap, into Melon's trap, inadvertently. So, but that Zootopia reference was hilarious, though. So, we've got, who is this? Who's this lion? Oh, the rest of the Shishigumi guys. Okay, so I'm gonna put Free in. Wait. Okay, this is tough. Where do I want to put Free? Am I gonna put Free in good character tier, or am I gonna put Free in common character tier? All right. So for as much as I love Free, he really didn't add anything to the story. It's because Free is just that simple. I would put Free in good character tier because of because of his loyalty, right? you know, Free likes fight. Free likes violence, and Free likes doing whatever he wants. Right? He's a free spirit, literally. But the loyalty that he showed to the rest of his boys as the de facto like leader after like Ibuki after Ibuki died and Louis left, like I'd put Free as a good character. Just from loyalty aspect alone. And speaking of Free, who I'd also group in there as a good character is Agata. Don't get me wrong, Agata didn't really add anything to the story either, but I love characters when they show their loyalty because, mind you, how Agata started, he was the one to suggest to Ibuki that they should just like eat Louis when they have no more use for him, to which he was punished for it. But you know, I think Paru ended up changing her mind about where she wanted to take Agata and gave him like a glow up. She completely changed his look. And he's he's a very endearing character because of it now. Now then, Chief Lion. He's not a good character. He's not a common character. He's like a one-off character who serves the purpose of, I guess, well, we had to have a big bad. Not even a big bad. We had to have a character for Legoshi to fight at the end of the arc, right? And he served that purpose. The purpose he served was getting Legoshi to bare his fangs for a herbivore, and for Haru to make peace with herself and realize that Legoshi was the one who actually treated her with respect, like the entire time. Like what she was looking for, like in sex for other people, Legoshi was giving it to her for free. So okay, so he's not completely like not memorable because he actually did serve a purpose, but I would say he's a common character, right? So next we have, who is this? Is that him? Oh, is that Ibuki? Is that his is that how he looks in the anime? Is it? I can't tell. Is it Ibuki? He looks just like it because he's wearing the glasses, so I'm just gonna guess that is Ibuki. Oh, another Shishigumi member we can put in common character tier. Okay, so so we haven't even filled like the god tier slot yet, the waifu husbando tier, badass tier, interesting character tier. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're gonna get there pretty soon now. So another Shishigumi member to put in common character tier. They just keep popping, sprinkled all over the place. There's a lot of Shishigumi members here for them to not have like adequate backstory or anything. Most of them are just strays, dropouts, delinquents, or outcasts in general. So I guess it makes sense why we'd focus on a couple. Okay, so if this is who I think it is, oh, actually, nah, forget it. We'll just go down here. Legoshi's dad. Who is it tier? Like, another underutilized character, right? Who only appeared in like Liano's flashback. He had absolutely no purpose in the story other than just being a sperm donor so we can get our loved yet loving dunderhead gray wolf boy Legoshi, right? But I wish, the thing about parents though, why does the protagonist's parents always have to be dead, right? And if they're not dead, they're just like not in their life, a la Gon Freeze from Hunter x Hunter. So yeah, there's a lot of potential that could have been with Legoshi's dad if they had utilized him, but you know, yeah, not utilized at all. Not even underutilized, just not utilized at all. So might as well just deleted him, but he exists. So okay, so moving on. Next, we have the scariest character in the series, the mayor from like, if you think Melon's scary, where's Melon? Somewhere around here. There he is. So if you think Melon's scary, I would say the mayor is even scarier, right? He only appeared once, and that was it. That was just to tell, like, he appeared just to show how animal society run by herbivores, how it I'm trying to gather my thoughts on the mayor. Like, I was thinking about, like, doing a whole thing about who the scariest character was and why, and making a little video about that, but I guess I'll just say it here. This is what herbivore dominated society does to animals like lions or carnivores in general, right? This is a character that felt he had to appease, like, the herbivores to move up in life. So what did he do? He trimmed his mane. And as we learn throughout the series, like, lions take immense pride in how their mane looks, right? That's like, you know, because lions in this series have a lot of expectation that's placed on them that they kind of just have to, like, live up to, right? So, you know, they keep a clean mane, they groom it, and they wear it with pride and honor. Look at this. He trims his fangs are completely, like, filed down. He had plastic surgery on his face. He basically changed all his features so he could look less intimidating, right? So he's the complete opposite of the Shishigumi's values, right? As a lion. So that's why I'm gonna put him as not even a good character, not even a common character. He was just a one-off person, and in my opinion, he should just be deleted because, you know, he really had no bearing on the story at all. He had no influence. He just served. Honestly, he just served as a warning of. I don't know. Not even a warning. He just served as a really. He served as a subtle metaphor for their society and how it worked, and pretty much. He served as a metaphor. I can't get my thoughts out. He served as a metaphor for the crushing expectation of their society. Right? That's what I was trying to say. So, next. Haru's dad. I'm going to put Haru's dad as a good character. And here's why. He was... Oh, man. Man, I want to... For Haru, you know what? I'm putting him in husband tier. Right? For the sole purpose of he accepted Legacy. Mind you, Legacy's been an outcast all his life. And there was a... What Legacy really wanted, like his values, he valued family. Right? And for him to be taken in with open arms by Haru's dad out of the blue, like, Legacy's a character that has a lot of courage in him, and he flat out admitted to the dad that he's in love with his daughter. And what did the dad do? He didn't judge Legacy. He was like, he took notice of everything Legacy was doing that night. Oh, he put his shoes away. He's sure to cover his claws, right? He's very respectful. Like, all these traits, he immediately looked at Legacy's good traits instead of judging him based off of preconceived notions. Even if he was being nice, he invited Legacy into his household. You know, they sat together and ate the same food and got to know each other. It's just, that's something I don't see a lot from any type of media, even in, like, other anime and stuff, or other like manga. It's very rare that the parents are in the picture, like that, and to get this type of understanding from a character that we just met was absolutely amazing, and the payoff to that chapter was absolutely incredible, which is why Haru's dad goes into husband tier right there. Just because he accepts legacy, right? And one of my favorite lines in the series was came from Legacy after the dad dropped him off to where he needed to go. I'm a lone wolf no more. And that hit hard, man, because there's so many people that are just born into unfortunate circumstances, right? Or that just grow up having nobody, and for this guy to just, sometimes people just have shitty parents. That's just the reality of it sometimes. And for this guy just to open his arms and open his door for legacy, that hit hard. That hit very hard. And I don't know, it was a beautiful scene. And even though he hasn't appeared a lot, which I wish he appeared a little bit more, and we got to see how Legacy's spending time with Haru's family. I wish we got that, but even Haru was underutilized. But when he did appear, the chapter he was in, he had the most impact I've seen, right? So that's why he's in husband tier. So next, who do we have? I'm gonna go ahead and guess that. Okay, this is who I think it is. I'm gonna save him for last. Okay, so next we have Cosmo, right? We have Cosmo right here. This is I think she's a gazelle or something like that. She's giving head to a bear in the bathroom to make some cash on the side. Underutilized character. I'm gonna put her as not even a common character, more so as a who is it, because she only appeared once, and I felt like she could have had some really interesting interactions with Louis in the back alley market while he was running the place as, the Shishigumi's new boss, but she was just a one-off character, And I feel like she just served the purpose of just being there to make Louis look good, to be honest. So, yeah. So, not, she didn't have any impact on the story whatsoever. Oh, and her showing Louis a drink that he can actually drink, so that's cool. Alright, so next we are going to go towards, this is the principal of the school. He didn't really have an impact on the story, and for as much promise as he was showing, he didn't really guide the students like I thought he would. Like, when I mean students, I mean neither Louis nor Legacy. He was just kind of there. And speaking of that Animal Society meeting that they went to, that conference, all organisms conference or something, was pointless because it didn't lead to them choosing the next Beastar, right? Like, it should have been Legacy, but at that time, Legacy was nowhere near ready to be a Beastar candidate. And Louis turned it down, so it was like, what was the point of it? Why even introduce you? So, yeah, there was that. Next. Alright, we're winding down. We have a couple more characters to do. And I'd say these are the main characters. Yeah, we're in the main character section now. Characters with the most impact on the story. So, let's go for it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just guess that this is the anime version of Ibuki up here, because I've been looking at this. That's why I've been avoiding it for so long. I'm like, is it Ibuki? Is it not Ibuki? I'm just going to go ahead and guess it is Ibuki in anime form. So I'm going to put Ibuki up here, and I think he's going to be our first one. I'm going to put him in interesting character tier. Actually, I changed my mind. Ibuki gets the honor of being an husband tier. Why is that? Because Ibuki was daddy as fuck, right? Like, every scene Ibuki was in with Louis, he just stole the show. Like, Ibuki's death was necessary for Louis' growth. Not even his death. Like, Ibuki's life was necessary for Louis' growth as a character, and for him to get the perspective that carnivores have it just as rough as herbivores. They're not the monsters that he thought they were, right? They're actually like living beings, right? Because Louis at the start of the series was racist as hell. Well, speciesist, right? Towards carnivores, right? But Ibuki was the one to step in and be like, hey, I'm gonna make your new. Ibuki saved Louis' life, essentially. The suicidal deer, he saved his life. He's like, hey, you're gonna be our new boss. Like, if you're gonna die, you're gonna work for us, right? And the relationship, the dynamic that they had with each other was what he was pretty much lacking. Like, everything that was in Oguma, everything that Oguma should have been, Ibuki was. And I like how the parallel is drawn because they have the same glasses. They wear the same style of glasses, right? So Oguma was so Ibuki was essentially Louis' like father. Like he's the one that was always in Louis' corner, his right hand man, always keeping Louis safe, always making sure Louis taking care of himself, always making sure Louis eating, making sure Louis doesn't try anything reckless, shielding Louis, acknowledging that Louis their boss, but he's also still a kid, and shielding him from pretty much from the horrors of their world, right? Like that gruesome scene where that one lizard got his like balls cut off. He was the first to put up his hand in front of Louis, right, to make sure he didn't get it, to make sure he didn't see it. That protective instinct is there, and his backstory about how he had to sell how he had to sell, parts of himself to like survive and make money. That hit hard and opened up Ibuki as a character. So, and not only that, Ibuki also serves the purpose of showing how most of the Shishigumi members are victims of their circumstance, right? And Ibuki is very much a character that has lived in the darkness that has been crushed by the darkness of their society and forced to change or die, because Ibuki had a heart of gold. But with this guy right here, where's the chief line? This guy right here turned Ibuki into a monster, but his heart started to open and soften when Louis got into the picture, when he came into his life. So Ibuki's an awesome character for a lot of reasons. So that's why he's in husband tier, because he had a lot of impact on the main character. It was awesome. Just awesome to see. Like when Louis left, that's when Ibuki clocked out. Now, speaking of Oguma, since I brought him up, we are going to put Oguma in husband tier as well. Because, well, actually no, we're not going to put Oguma in husband tier. We're going to put Oguma in interesting character tier. Right? I feel like Oguma had the potential to be in husband tier, but I feel like maybe he's better as an interesting character, because we haven't seen a lot of Oguma, right? Based off of, he's a ruthless businessman, and you get to see that the interactions that he had with Louis aren't that really of a father and a son. It's more so as business partners. But the thing about Oguma is he knows Louis better than any other character, right? He has insight into Louis that Louis didn't have like before. So it's interesting to see that, yeah. And his death served the purpose of letting Louis know, like, yes, he was actually loved, and to the very end, he believed in his son, right? knowing that he can have kids himself, he saw the conviction in Louis to do what was. He saw the conviction in Louis that he would do what needed to be done, right? He would see things through to the end, even if it meant the death of him, which was both Louis' good, that's one of Louis' awesome traits, but that's also one of his self-destructive traits that you see early on. But Oguma tried to nurture that and give him the best. You know what? Forget that. I'm putting Oguma in not waifu tier, husband tier. Husbando. Man, the dads are literally in husband tier. And I'd say Ibuki is like a surrogate. And I think this is Ibuki as well. So if it's Ibuki, I'm just going to put Ibuki 2 up here too. Okay, so next. The Fox. This is the Tibetan Fox girl from, I think it was chapter something. I completely forgot. But it was Goheen's patient, right? This is a character I wish we had saw again at the... I need some water, just so. It's dry out here. Okay, so this is Goheen's patient that we saw during the chapter where Goheen had her in his rehabilitation clinic because she committed a predatory act, right? She's interesting because it showed a different side of Goheen that we hadn't really seen before, right? The chapter itself, it's actually... Ooh, I'm gonna have to make a chapter tier list or something like that, but just her story, it was just tragic. You just see a different side of animal society. Well, one that we already knew was there, but just seeing it from another character, pretty much she didn't really drop out of school. She wasn't attending, she didn't get into the college she wanted. She's basically just depressed, right? Stopped attending her classes, and a herbivore who was hitting on her in the street triggered her instinct, and she ate him, right? And all of a sudden her life was over, but she was saved by Goheen, and she went through a very long rehabilitation clinic and when she got her empathy back, Goheen let her go. He's like, you're free to do what you want. Go back to college, live your life, get a well-paying job. Goheen wanted the best for her. But what made her an interesting character is she decided to turn herself in. That was at the climax of the chapter. She was like, after all of it, after that nice dinner they had, after all of it, she decided that she was just going to turn herself in, and when she gets out, she's going to give Goheen the biggest smile she's ever had. And that's a promise I really wish that we saw between the two of them be fulfilled, Because Goheen has a lot of love for his patients. And this is one of those. Like, her chapter was confirmation that what Goheen was doing actually mattered. It wasn't for nothing, and that's what made her interesting. I don't know. Yeah, so... Okay, Fox Girl. So, moving on. Azuki. So, Louis' fiancé to be. You know what? I'm gonna put her as not even as an interesting character, because she's not interesting, and that's the point. So I'd say she's more of a common character, right? She has that sass to her, but she's like Oguma, but a female, right? She only wants to do things in interest of benefiting their companies, right? Which is what the whole arranged marriage was for. All she wants to do is, have Louis give her an heir who would eventually go on to inherit their fortune and their companies. But she's like the perfect wife, is what she's supposed to be. And she's a mirror of Louis in the sense that she's essentially what Louis was supposed to be as well. The perfect son that always does what he's told, that always, can do no wrong, that just, like a robot essentially, like a Oguma, a ruthless businessman. So moving on. Melon's mom was an interesting character. I don't know what it is about the moms in this series, but I put her down as interesting because of how much her death was very short-lived, right? Well, her life was very short-lived. And okay, so the reason I put her down as interesting because it's weird how you go into viewing her at first to how you view her at the end. This is why I was struggling when I was doing the manga reviews whenever Melon's mom would be involved in it, right? Because how you view Melon's mom is completely based off of the perspective of kid Melon. And when you find out at the end that his whole like lens was influenced by fear, it calls into question, okay, was these things, because you know, anything involving her, because it bothers Melon so much, it's interesting because it gets in your head and it's like, oh, she was doing this to Melon, oh, she was mistreating Melon, but was she, or was it just Melon's own fear response from the herbivore side of him, you know, the fear of that he would eventually be eaten. It's weird, like every scene involving her, like I'm looking at with even more grains of salt, and I'm just like, I can't trust what Melon's saying. You just can't trust what Melon says, and you view the mom through Melon's lenses. Don't get me wrong, I still think there were undertones of something sinister going on in that house, but I don't. That's the thing, you just don't know, and that's why I think it's interesting. Melon's whole mommy complex, you know? Sigmund Freud would be proud. So, next. Who else is interesting? Okay, we are going to put Sebun as an interesting character. For the reason that she helps Legoshi mature in a very different way. Like, chapter 100 was Sebun's chapter, and I wish Sebun is also one of those characters that has been underutilized, right? Like, she essentially helped Legoshi start his path towards adulting and becoming a proper adult, and I wish she mentored Legoshi a lot more. Like, they both need. Alright, so Sebun showed up at a good time because they both needed each other. You know, Legoshi saved Sebun's life, and Sebun helped Legoshi get his life on track. And the whole subplot with her being bullied at work, but also her enabling it through inaction, was very interesting. And I would have liked to see how things were going for Sebun at another point. But, you know, once Zagon and all that got introduced, it was just kind of out the window. And, you know, well, I'm not really complaining about that much because how it ended between Legoshi and Sebun was on a very good note, with them just chilling on the rooftops, just enjoying a drink together and just enjoying each other's company. They're mad at each other. Well, Sebun's mad at him, but that doesn't mean they're not still friends and all that. It was a very good chapter that I enjoyed quite a bit, and I wish I saw more of Sebun because I just love. She would have been a very good mentor. Not so much as a romantic like partner for Legoshi if Haru didn't work out, but just a very good friend to Legoshi and a very good mentor, teaching Legoshi more of how the world works, right? But Sebun's super interesting, and also she also raises a lot of awareness towards like mental health and how it can affect like people. I'm a strong advocate of like, you know, people maintaining like their own like health in general, like physical health, mental health, you know, and even like the spiritual and stuff like that. And seeing that Sebun's chapter, oh, that hit hard. But yeah, Sebun, definitely interesting character, underutilized but interesting nonetheless. So, who's next? Zagwan, also an interesting character. Okay, Zagwan's awesome, and he opened up. He also helped Legacy mature as well, because he brought Legacy perspective that he didn't have before, being a sea creature from the ocean, right? So that opened up a world, you know, Beastars' world in a way that was I would say inaccessible at first. And him being being both a land animal and a sea animal added an interesting dynamic. Instead of it just being carnivore, herbivore, now you have the sea. I still feel Zagwan was underutilized. If Beastars ever continues and they open up that sea subplot again, I would love to see stories being told about that, because the land animals and the sea animals are forming a new relationship with the sea apparently. So I wonder how that's gonna work out. And their whole culture is just super interesting. Like in the sea, it's just like, you know, you live and you die, you eat and you're eaten, and life is as simple as that. Anyway, so moving on. Q. Just delete Q. Like, Q's whole thing was pointless. Like, I don't understand why Q was even introduced. She served no purpose. Like, chimeras, like imaginary chimeras, got yeeted out of existence. Like, and even then, she betrayed Legacy, right? I have a thing. I absolutely hate traitors. I hate traitors in fiction. I hate traitors in real life. I don't like traitors. And she is a rat. If anything, I felt like she would have been her purpose for living, like her existence, it should have been food for Legacy to break his fast. Because she let Legacy go into a battle starving during Melon, right? And I wish Haru had committed to that like plot point of when she said good boy Legacy, that he actually ate her right then and there. And she served as a power up between, you know, so he could fight Melon properly in Super Beast mode, but that never happened. Couldn't think of it, Super Beast mode never happened again, because Legacy didn't eat meat again. I felt like her dying by Legacy's like fangs would have been an excellent like conclusion to her character, and would have made up for what she did. She didn't even appear during the end, right? And I don't even think she appeared during the last color page either. But yeah. And her training with Legacy, I felt, was pointless as well. In fact, all that time that was spent with Q should have been spent with Haru. It should have been Haru. Haru should have been the one to say good boy. A lot of things Haru should have been, she wasn't even there for. And it's frustrating that another character like Q got introduced. Like, sure, there was that whole point about Legacy not viewing female herbivores as equals, which I guess opened up him being able to fight the Inarigumi, but Legacy would have did it anyway, and that was kind of pointless, you know? So, I don't know. And even then, she didn't even reunite with Goheen at the end. It wasn't even shown if Goheen got Q's letter. There was just so much with Q that was just wasted. It was just wasted. And she didn't even need to betray Legacy for money, because Louis exists. Just like her alpaca friend right here. Both of these characters should have just been deleted, because they serve no purpose to the story whatsoever. Her being a disciple of Goheen meant jack all. And all she had was just a crush on Goheen. That was it. Pettiness and jealousy was her entire character arc. So yeah. Delete Q. Okay. So, moving on. Bill. Okay, I'm gonna put Bill in badass tier. You know what? Bill, Aoba, Pina. We're gonna put them in badass tier. For this reason. The Shock Egg chapter was one of my favorite chapters as well. I think I have like 5 favorite chapters. Yeah. 5. No, 8. I have 8 favorite chapters. So, seeing Bill's character development from how he started to like this prideful, to this like this prideful yet arrogant like carnivore, to this prideful yet caring carnivore, this prideful yet caring animal, was just awesome to see, because Bill was never a bad guy. He just kind of felt like it, right? And the thing about that is you follow Bill's mindset, because you're like, yeah, Bill's going down a dark path, right? But Bill was also aware of that. He's one of the most aware characters in the show, right? He has a very strong sense of right and wrong, but he just chooses to act how he would, because Beastars is a character-driven story, right? Bill knows that, yeah, his friends in the drama club, like he goes to the back alley market and eats meat, but he does it because he acknowledges that, hey, I'm gonna need to eventually, because he's like, hey, I'm a carnivore and I need meat, right? But he also acknowledges the people in the drama club are essentially his family, and we've seen how Bill acts. Bill's family means the world to him, and how he steps up to become the leader in Louis' absence. It's very telling, and Louis even sees that as well, and it's like he even endorses Bill. He's like, I'm leaving the school. You're in charge now, Bill. And Bill has the burden of expectation placed on him, and he rises to the occasion beautifully to take control, to make sure his club members are okay, to make sure they can be together, to make sure that the school and animal society's darkness doesn't influence their place of respite, right? I loved Bill's character for that, and the Shock Egg was perfect. And this is where I'm gonna tie in Aoba and Pina. Aoba was a bro to Legacy. First, we saw Bill's gung-ho attitude about eating meat at the start. Aoba was the one to turn away from his instincts, and we got to see how carnivores could really be if they really wanted to be better, right? Because it was when they first discovered the back alley market, and guy was like, hey, I'll sell you one of my fingers to eat. Aoba at first was like, we're gonna have to use the back, like Bill, hey, we're gonna have to use the back alley market eventually, so this isn't a big deal, to changing his mind and being like, I thought of all of our friends in the drama club and I just can't go through it, which showed that his humanity there. He's like, I viewed it as eating my friends, and I couldn't do it. I can't wait to see... Ooh, I have to start the anime pretty soon. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see it animated. Like, I don't know. There was just a lot of emotion on the page. I just can't wait to see it actually. But yeah, Alba's an awesome character, and he works really good with Bill, especially during the Shock Egg chapter, being the bird that they need to, take care of a little bird. It's just awesome to see how much of a bro he is, and kind of like Bill's right hand man as well. He's always together with them. Now, and then we have Pina. Pina is a character that really stirred the pot, right? That really got in there and made things a mess with this character introduction, right? He's a character that really gets under your skin. Pina's a badass tier in a pair, in the trio, along with Bill and Aoba. It's because he's the one that really, he sees things as they are, and he calls people out on their shit, right? He gets in there and makes it makes you discover things about yourself that you didn't even know, which was a huge plot point, by the way. Before the whole Riz stuff started happening, he got Legoshi to acknowledge that, oh, it's okay to feel these feelings towards herbivores. It's okay to not like herbivores, because at first, Legoshi had a really bad herbivore fetish, right? But then, he served the purpose of getting under Legoshi's skin and introducing a new emotion that he never felt before that he thought he could feel towards herbivores. Rage. Because Pina was being a piece of shit. But here's where Pina shines. Pina is loyal. Like, more loyal. Pina's more loyal to his male friends than he is his women. Right? He has stepped in and saved Legoshi's life when he didn't have to. Right? He got involved in something that endangered his own life just because he could, just because he wanted to. Right? So I'd say, in a way, he influenced the story by just being there and have characters learn more about themselves. Not just Legoshi, he also influenced Bill to be better as well during the Shock Egg chapter. I truly believe if Pina wasn't there, Bill would have actually ate the chick. Right? And it would have cemented Bill on a path of no return. Because that's because it would have been a live animal he ate instead of dead animal. But what did Pina do? He didn't judge him for it. Pina straight up said, hey, I'm not going to judge you for it. I want people to just, be true to themselves and how they are. So if you want to eat the egg, go ahead. So if you want to eat the chick, go ahead. But Pina gave Bill what he needed at the time. He was like, I knew you could be better, so we're going to take care of this. We're going to take care of this baby. You're going to take care of this baby. Right? And he stuck around during those, those nights, camping out with his friends, making sure the chick is okay, hanging out with them, getting to know them. And mind you, Pina is not discriminatory at all. Well, he is. If you're ugly, he is. But he hangs around carnivores of his own volition and without fear or discrimination. He only discriminates if you're ugly. But yeah, Pina's an awesome character because of it, right? And you get to see like the extent of it when he extends a hand of friendship to Riz at the very end, which is something I didn't see coming, but that was beautiful because of course it would be Pina to do that. So yeah, I'd put him in a wife and husband tier, but these three just make so much sense together as a pair. So yeah. Now we are gonna put, okay, we're down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 more characters to go. This is Toki, Gosha's wife. I want Toki to lead it. She didn't add anything to the story whatsoever. I hate Toki. Like I thought Liano, what Liano did was selfish. But you got where Liano was coming from. But Toki's an actual piece of shit for a number of reasons. Like, I get her, like her whole story was supposed to be tragic. Not even her story. Gosha's all she left behind was trauma for both her husband and for her daughter. And in my opinion, outside of Melon's dad, is the most selfish character in the show. Not the show, the manga, you know what I mean, right? Toki was vindictive in a way I've never seen before. I get it was supposed to be romantic, but there's nothing romantic about death. There's nothing romantic about suicide. There's nothing romantic about, gaslighting and tricking your husband, taking advantage of your husband's there's nothing romantic about taking advantage of your husband's insecurities and taking advantage of him when his guard is down. That's exactly what Toki did, and she's disgusting for it. Absolutely hate Toki. I hate Toki more than Q. Like, what Toki did was the ultimate betrayal, in my opinion. And, I don't know, Gosha's gonna, I know exactly where I'm gonna place Gosha, but I'll get to him when I get to him. Next, we have Melon. Melon was an interesting character. Like, I've talked so much about Melon, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm all meloned out from the Beastars chapters, but Melon, in my opinion, we got too much Melon. To the point where Melon wasn't really interesting. I felt like Melon would have benefited more if we got snippets of Melon here and there, sprinkles of Melon, instead of it just being a Melon focus, like, instead of the arc being wholly focused on Melon and that's it, right? It was either, Melon this, Melon that. Just too much Melon. I'm sick of Melon. Like the Shishigumi, I'm sick of eating Melon. I'm sick of watching Melon, right? But learning more about Melon and what came to make him how he was, it was definitely an experience in and of itself. He's the Joker of this series for a reason. Like, Melon is actually one of the saddest characters in the manga. Like he's a victim of circumstance, right? Like, animal society, like, he's a victim of animal society's darkness, and animal society essentially just straight up does not have a place for hybrids. They're not there yet. They're not ready yet. And it's sad because what Melon could have been, given his intelligence, he could have been so much more if he had used that intelligence for good, in my opinion. Because we've seen what he can accomplish when he's evil. Now imagine that, imagine that motivation being put towards animal society in a good way. Okay, we're almost done. So, Legom. We're going to go ahead and put Legom in God tier. No cap, really. So this is why I'm putting Legom. This is our first God tier character. Because Legom actually, Legom appeared in I think it was the first volume of Beastars, right? It was she was a throwaway character. But at the same time, Legom was good. Is it foreshadowing? Is it what I want to say? Yeah, I guess it was good foreshadowing of events to come in regards to Legosi's characters, and she introduced the concept of fetish, right? And it seemed like it was just a funny gag chapter or whatever, but her chapter was important. It's because you get to see how society values traits they view as a positive that can benefit the whole, and look down on things, and look down on negative traits such as being born the wrong species, being born a carnivore in their society. Whereas Legosi is viewed with fear and contempt from the people who see him, Legom is viewed with praise because of what she provides to society, right? Her being born a chicken and taking pride in the work she does, because it benefits society. Whereas you have someone else like Legosi or something like that, who didn't get the same treatment. And don't get me wrong, her obsession with laying good quality eggs, I'd say that's a fetish in and of itself, right? And Legosi was the one who said he should feel ashamed of having a fetish for not rabbits, just herbivores in general, right? Whereas Legom, she openly embraces who she is with confidence. She's like, yeah, I lay the best eggs, my eggs are the best, and I know it, right? But it's interesting because you see that confidence break and that uncertainty come about when she feels that she's not doing a good enough job anymore, because Legosi doesn't like her egg sandwiches anymore, which was made with her eggs, which turned out to be false. Those weren't actually her eggs at the end of the chapter, but you see what I'm saying. I don't know, Legom's chapter, rereading it, it's just more and more interesting in the context of the series as a whole. Like I should probably do another like analysis or review of Legom's chapter, but it's really good. That's what I'm putting Legom as God tier. And plus, I saw Paru Itagaki in wearing a chicken hat. What's up with that? It's like a chicken mask. I think it's Legom. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. So that's why it's God tier too. Okay, moving on. Riz. Okay, so Riz, I'm putting Riz in interesting character tier. Because Riz is also a victim of society as well. We see what society does to inhibit carnivores from pretty much being themselves, right? The side effect of the drugs that he was taking made Riz essentially just like lose his grasp on things a little bit, being in constant pain. Like Riz's whole character arc was just beautifully done. Like Riz is a villain, not because he wants to be a villain. He's a villain because society made him that way. Essentially, don't get me wrong. He chose to do his actions after the events of him eating Tim, right? But that was just to protect his own well-being. Like, I truly believe, like, if Legacy didn't step in, Riz would have just went about his business and lived out his life without any more predation events. But there's also the element of uncertainty there. Like, the thing about Riz, about how he can taste anymore, and how, you know, that simple pleasure of life just kind of got taken away from him, like being in constant pain. You see that reflected later on in Melon, just taken to the extreme. Like, whereas Riz was in constant pain because of his strength inhibitors, Melon was in pain because of his lack of pain, right? And being screwed up biologically. Like, he couldn't taste anything, which goes back to Riz, who couldn't taste anything either. And his only solace was sociability. Communicating with Tim, talking to Tim, getting to know Tim. And when he found out just how fragile herbivores are, and an accident happened, he had no choice but to commit and keep it to himself. And the trauma was so great on Riz to where he just like kind of like blocked it out of his head and remade the memory, but deep down knowing that it wasn't an accident. Like, it wasn't a consensual predation act. Pretty much what Riz wanted is what Legosi and Louis have with each other. True friendship built on understanding one another, right? Because when Legosi predated Louis, it was truly consent, which is what Tim wanted, which is what he truly wanted it to be from Tim, but it wasn't. So Riz is a tragic character. He's a tragic villain, but it's not all his fault. You get it. You get where he's coming from. He's a villain, but he's not evil. There's a lot of nuance to Riz that I like. So yeah, that honey loving bear. Next, we have Jack. Jack is... Man, where do I place Jack? Jack is the best friend everyone should have. Like, I want to put Jack higher. Actually, no. Not good character. Jack is an interesting character that was underutilized, right? Jack is Legosi's, like, confidant. He's the only, like, at the start, Jack is the only person that Legosi talks to, that who will lend Legosi an ear when he needs it, right? He knows Legosi. He's Legosi's childhood friend. And I felt like Jack was so underutilized, but that was the point, though. Because Jack felt like he was being left behind as Legosi, like, grew up, right? Which is true. Jack did get left behind, and it's it's really sad. But Legosi came back for his friend when it mattered. But I feel like Jack could have been used more as just to learn more about Legosi in general. Because Legosi was a character that was shrouded with in mystery at the start, right? We did not know a lot about Legosi. And as we got to know him, his life started opening up more and more and more. And it's crazy to think that Jack knew all this from the beginning, right? But he kept his secrets, and he was always there for Legoshi. Like, a bro that stays with you, over like the Christmas breaks because he knows you don't have a family to go back to, essentially. Jack is just best boy. And his whole subplot about him feeling depressed and about how he wasn't like good enough, how he'll never be as good as Legoshi. He has like Jack sees the traits that Legoshi has and he wants them because they're real, right? I loved Jack's like whole like arc when they were kids about how he felt like he was essentially fake, and it called into question Jack's true mental health because he's like, you know, I'm a golden retriever. I'm essentially made by. I wish they'd explored this, like, because Jack's concept is interesting. Like, essentially, like, true primal like species, like gray wolves and stuff, are being bred out of society in favor of their more intelligent counterparts, such as dogs, who I feel were being set up to eventually take over and run society because they're the smartest, right? Jack scored high scores on like every test he took, and he's essentially a groomed and genetically like engineered leader of society. Eventually, that's what he's going to turn into. Because the special classes he was taking, where they would teach them the true history, there were only five students in there, and they were all dogs bred for intelligence. So Jack's whole character was very interesting, and I wish that got expanded a lot more. If Beastars continues, I want that plot point touched on again, because it's sad. Like, I feel like if Jack was in the story when Legoshi was going through all of his troubles and stuff, having Jack's perspective on things with the knowledge that he has of society would have helped out a lot. And not to mention, Jack was the one that introduced that plot point with the whale during the carnivore-herbivore war, which kind of bled into other chapters and the themes that had in it, like such as carnivores being the ones to protect herbivores. We actually got to see that like later on, like, oh, that actually is the case, right? But the whole thing with the whale was just a waste of time and very pointless. I wish we got more of the history and whatnot, but you know, Jack Sensei's history lesson was good while it lasted. But yeah, his whole I wouldn't even say inferiority complex. It's more of a, I don't really know how to describe Jack's how Jack is feeling, but yeah, you're not fake, Jack. Anyway, moving on. Yafia. Oof. Okay, this is gonna be hard. Alright, where am I gonna place Yafia? Yafia is more so in... Yafia's a badass. Yeah, he's an interesting character. But I'd say he's more of a badass because he's a... I don't know what it is. He's a furious crime fighter, right? Like, the only thing holding Yafia back is the impact that Yafia had. Like, if we spent more time, like with Yafia, like, here's how I think the story should have went. Instead of having this whole B-plot with Melon and stuff like that, I feel like Legoshi should have went under Yafia's wing to learn how to become the Beastar, which would have gave Legoshi the opportunity to see how Yafia works around the city, both politically and socially as a crime fighter, right? You know, I felt like, and which would have given Legoshi the opportunity to travel to different places around the city or even outside the city to see how the world worked. There's just so much with Yafia's character that could have been utilized but just wasn't, and it's frustrating. Instead, I could go on about that, but I'm not going to do that. We're already like over an hour 30 into this, so okay, so Yafia, his change was gradual and it was organic in a way that made sense. This was a character that was hurt, right, by Gosha, but essentially learned to let go of his hatred, right? he was directing all of his hatred towards Legoshi and taking out his frustrations that he had with Gosha out on Legoshi, which is sad because, you know, their relationship could have been so much better than what it was, and I wish these two had interacted more. There was just so much potential, but Melon just took away. Melon just stole the spotlight off of a lot of characters, and a lot of developments didn't happen just because Melon existed, which makes me want to put Melon in, you know, Paru Please Delete. But I guess not. Okay, so moving on. In the close, actually, before I move on, back to Yafia. His character arc closed really good. Like, I felt like he was a complete character. Like, I wish we had got, just like Going, I wish we had gotten to see how Yafia's actions affected the city. Sure, just because a couple carnivores didn't fight because you revealed yourself as the Beastar. Was it fear holding them back, or was it genuine? Oh no, never mind. That was genuine, like restraint coming from them. But I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to see Yafia's actions validated in a different way, right? Because this is a guy who's dedicated his entire life, his body, his everything to cleaning up the city and making it safe. He really needed a successor. I really thought it was going to be Legoshi or Louis, but it seems like he didn't get that. And he's retired now. It's just like, now what? But to close it off, I love seeing the growth of his character with the act of compassion that he showed, that he was lacking before, by him not telling Melon the truth at the end about his dad, by letting Melon believe the lie that he made in his own head. I believe he should have told him, but he didn't, and that's huge for Melon's character. He grew as a person. Okay. Next, we have Liano. Ooh, Liano's okay. I'm gonna put Liano in as an interesting character. Oof. Okay, I have a soft spot because Liano's chapter personally, Liano's chapter hit me hard, like very hard, because it's complex. Liano's entire character is complex because of how she lived her life. And even, alright, so you know how Liano looks here? This isn't what Liano really looks like. This is how Liano views herself as, therefore that's how we see Liano as, right? Now imagine if one day everything you thought you would be came crashing down. Everything you thought you knew about yourself, everything you thought, like your security, your peace of mind, knowing that you're secure in your place in society because of how you look. Nope, not anymore. Everything you knew just got taken from you. And if you were to go outside, you're probably going to be killed because of how different you look. Because you look like a monster. That's Liano, right? Which opened, oh my goodness, like, it was actually terrible. That's one of the most terrible things I've ever seen. Like, ever. And her death scarred Legoshi for life. But it's not all her fault. Like, basically, where is she? I put her in Please Delete, didn't I? Where's Toki? Right here. Yeah, I put her in Please Delete because Toki was trash. She should have been there for Liano, but she wasn't. And even then, I still think Liano's interesting because she wanted to leave something of herself in the world, right? Which is how we got Legoshi. She wanted to leave the good part, the beautiful part of herself in the world, which was Legoshi. And the relationship that she had with Gosha was, I don't know. We don't know. That was never talked about. But it was interesting at best. That's what I'll say. Liano. there's just so much. But if you want to find Liano's chapters, I highly recommend it. Prep yourself before you go into those. I certainly needed to. But yeah. Okay, we have 6 more characters. I'm gonna go for Juno next. Juno, I'm gonna put as waifu tier. Here's why. Juno's a character. I said this during all my reviews when Juno showed up. She is very much the character of her own series. Like, Juno is everything that Legacy wanted to be at the very start. It's like she grew into her role, like as a leader. And I wouldn't be surprised if Juno becomes like the next Beastar, because she has the aptitude and potential and the competence to do it. Right? She's comfortable with her strength as a carnivore, but she's also comfortable socially, using her status as as an attractive female wolf. She's not afraid to use her assets, and she's a very proactive character. Like, at first I thought I would hate Juno because of how she was coming off. She's coming off as very manipulative, right? Controlling, and notice me senpai type of vibes. But no, Juno turned out to be a very mature character, seeking answers for herself, taking the initiative to take what going for what she wants, which is essentially what Legacy was doing, only he did it on a mass scale of destruction, whereas Juno had a lot more finesse into how she did things, right? And she influenced every character she met. Like, she influenced Louis, she influenced Legacy, she influenced Drama Club in a sense. Juno's an excellent character. Strong, confident, competent, like everything you will want. And how her character arc ended, just how it would. Juno is at her best. I said it before. Juno is at her best when she is dominating, right? When she's in control, right? She's the shit and she knows it, and she let Louis know it at the end. That's why Juno is in waifu tier. Truly. And not only that, Juno is everything Haru wanted to be. Right? Let that sink in. Everything, all of Haru's insecurities wouldn't have been the thing if she had been born in Juno's body. If they had swapped places. Now, moving on. We are down to our last 5 characters. So, here he is. We are gonna go for Louis Red Deer. We are gonna put Louis in. Okay, no, not Louis yet. We're going for Gosha. Yeah, I'm not gonna put it off any longer. Gosha's god tier, straight up. Gosha's been daddy as fuck since the first chapter he was introduced. Like, having a Komodo dragon grandfather like Gosha, who needs parents when you have a granddaddy like him? Who absolutely adores and loves his grandson, and is also a complete character. Gosha had a hard life growing up, yet he made a life for himself using his strengths. It turns out at the end of the series, Gosha was actually in a gang. We don't know a lot about Gosha. We only know how he met his wife, right? He had aspirations to be a Beastar, to be Beastars, along with Yafia, right? He's not only badass, he's got here because of the impact he had on Legacy's. Well, actually, no. Come to think of it, no. Actually, yes. The impact he had on Legacy since he was a kid. He was Legacy. Essentially, he was Legacy's only family, right? And their relationship was shaky at best, but that was mostly due to Legacy and misplaced rage over the death of his mother. Legacy's family life, it was very complex, and for Gosha to lose not only his wife but his daughter, with him being the reason why it happened, just by virtue of him existing and reproducing because of it, him not staying in his lane, going against the grain, to be selfish for once and actually like seek love with someone who will love him that just so happens to be of the opposite species but still a carnivore. He was punished for it, and he was punished his whole life up until Legoshi was born. And it's amazing. It's a testament to his strength of character how he was just able to hang on for that long. Like for Legoshi, like imagine it, just like losing your family because of traits outside of your control. You know, being born into your circumstances, being traumatized by your wife committing suicide with your own venom for a kiss, or your daughter killing herself because she was born with your genes, or your grandson hating you because his mother killed himself because she was born with his genes. Right? There's a lot of self-hatred. Like Legacy developed a lot of self-hatred for himself, for what he did, for what he said to Gosha, and what he was born at. The same hatred that Liano developed as well. But he worked through that. But we'll get to that. But Gosha is S tier. Not S tier, God tier. Because of his resilience and his strength of character. And he also passed on a very significant philosophical lesson to Legoshi that's relevant to like his whole story. Like pacifism means nothing pacifism doesn't mean anything if the strong can't uphold it, right? You're privileged if you're born strong, because that means you can enforce the change you want to see, which is what Legacy was doing the entire time. And his pacifistic nature was taught to him by Gosha, so he had a huge impact on Legacy that we discover like later on in the series as we get to know Gosha and his love for. I firmly believe, if there was a Gosha in Melon's life, Melon wouldn't have turned out to be as bad as he was. But unfortunately, Melon was a victim of circumstance. But yeah, Gosha, God tier. Next. Louis Red Deer. Where am I going to put Louis at, man? Like, I want to put Louis at God tier because he had A+ character development, right? But at the same time, I felt like Louis should have been utilized a lot more than he had been during the Melon arc. Essentially, he was just kind of there. After like all his trauma and stuff got dealt with, Louis was just kind of on and off, appearing here and there. And even when he met Q and that alpaca or whatever again, it really didn't change anything. Like, Louis, just for Louis' development alone, I'm putting him in husband tier. Even I feel like he should be God tier, but yeah, I feel like Louis should be God tier, but I'm not gonna do that. Such a good character though, but I feel like it's appropriate to have him with Juno anyway. Okay, like Louis' whole character development, going from racist to an from a character with a dark past, a troubled teen, to a more mature, mellow, understanding leader. It was just beautiful. Like, the trials and hardships he went through showed that, you're more than the circumstance that you're born into. And Louis is the epitome of that. Even though he got lucky, that's just the circumstances he found himself in, and he adapted to his circumstance. So that's why Louis is awesome. I want to put Louis at God tier, but I'm not doing it because, as it stands, I feel like he's not the leader he's meant to be yet. If that press conference had gone a little bit better, sure, he was straight to the point, but how he delivered his message was like D tier at best. So he's not the Louis Prime I feel he could be yet. So That's why he's husband chair at best. Plus the sexual attention he has for like Legoshi and Juno is just insane. It's actually nuts. Okay, let me take some water. I'm tempted to put him in God tier. Okay. Next, we have Haru. Haru goes in waifu. No, Haru goes in God tier. Here's why. I have not seen a character like Haru in media ever. Like, Haru introduced a lot of themes to the series that I felt can't be replicated anywhere else outside of being the main character's Legoshi's motivation. Haru had something to add to the story every time she appeared. Like, Haru wasn't a useless character even though she was treated like one, right? Like, every scene Haru was in was impactful in some way towards Legoshi's development as a character, right? Like, man, I could just gush all day about Haru. Like, from her story about learning to like value herself and love herself and seek and learn to be loved truly, essentially, because that's what she had to learn from Legoshi. Because Legoshi is the type to love Haru indiscriminately, which is what she wasn't used to. She learned to essentially be seen through her body, through sex, because she felt like everyone was equal in the bedroom, right? Everyone's vulnerable. So that was her way of asserting control over her life, because she lives in a society where her life can be taken in an instant, and she's very much acutely aware of her place in society as food, as prey, right? And even at the very end of the story, Haru's still not a complete character, right? This is why I wish we spent so much more time with her, because just because Legoshi isn't there doesn't mean her issues just magically go away. They're still very much there, but she's willing to work on them together along with Legoshi, right? I wish we got more time with her. But Legoshi was the one that was purposely like keeping Haru away, but every time she was there, Haru was just super chill about everything except being neglected, right? And here's what separates her. She took time to get to here's what separates her from everyone else in my book, like in every other like show or manga I read. Like, she took the time to actually get to get to learn Legoshi in a way that no one else had, to get to understand Legoshi's pain and what he's dealing with. That scene where she had Legoshi take her to the back alley market, so she can see what Legoshi has to deal with on a day-to-day basis to control his urges to eat meat, and to go inside of a meat shop where they sell rabbits and pray for the dead, like Legoshi had done all that time to show respect for their life, was beautiful. And not only that, it's easy to hate Haru, like from the wrong lens without having the context of it all. But Haru genuinely wants the best for Legoshi, and here's where she was absolutely sold in my mind. It was actually in the scene where Legoshi came from the Civets place, where he was still under that influence of Bloodbone coffee and whatever. Haru said that she wants to be the one to turn him into a splendid wolf. She wants to be there to help him grow up, to become a splendid wolf. That cemented Haru in my mind. I mean, Legoshi showed her his dick, but that's beside the point. She genuinely wants the best for Legoshi, and she wants to be there for him, right? That's why Haru's God tier. This is why I wish Haru was utilized more during the Melon, not the Melon, during the, what's it called, the turf war, right? If anyone should have been there, it should have been Haru to say good boy Legacy, because she was motivation for Melon as well, and that also goes to Haru. Oh yeah, speaking of that, out of everyone in the series that wanted Melon dead, Haru is the one that didn't look at Melon with disgust. She actually wanted Melon around and viewed him with interest, because all she saw was her and Legacy's future child, and she was fascinated by that. So she has a really big heart for such a small body. So next, we have Gohin. God tier. Instantly God tier. And who is, in my opinion, the true Beastars of this series. Gohin was instrumental for Legacy's development, right? Like, everything that we see Yafia doing, we saw Gohin doing it first, but in a way that would benefit society through rehabilitation, not incarceration and death, right? Gohin is a character that understood that carnivores can't help being who they are. He just so happened to have been born in a body where he can survive both off of, animal meat, herbivore meat, or grass. He had the option because he's an omnivore, which is the status of omnivores is something I wish got expanded upon in the series, but so far Gohin's the only omnivore here, right? Unless you count Louis, who ate more meat than most animals would in their lifetime. But the validation that Yafia got at the end, we got early. We saw what Gohin was doing mattered with that the Tibetan Fox chapter, where he rehabilitated her, right? Gohin catches and rehabilitates those going through meat withdrawal in their society and setting them on the right path so they can function in the world. Gohin is truly the GOAT of this series. Well, Pina's the GOAT, but you get what I'm saying. Gohin's the GOAT in the sense that he wants the best for his patients, right? And he's a character that actually sacrificed to see his dream come true. Not his dream, like he sacrificed things for his aspiration. He sacrificed his relationship with his wife to see it through. It's not like he just did this willy-nilly. Like, this is a man with a mission, right? And it's awesome to see him like mentor Legacy and get him to understand the sides of himself that he had been suppressing, right? Turning Legacy into this furious crime fighter with a heart of gold, right? And Gohin truly does have a heart of gold, as we saw at the end. Pandas are very emotional. When his patient, the Tibetan Fox, told him that she's going to turn himself in, fully supported her, but he also wanted her to get an education. Speaking of education, he wouldn't let Legacy drop out of school. He values education and bettering yourself, right? Like, before Gosha came along, Gohin was most definitely the father figure that Legacy really needed as well in his life. And I wish we saw more of it, because he's truly an awesome character. Even going with Legacy to do the raid on the Shishigumi hideout, cemented. But it was basically the chapter with the Tibetan Fox that cemented Gohin in my mind as the true Beastars of this series. Like the true Beastar of this series. It's Gohin. It's always been Gohin. Like, it's so funny. Like, I thought we were working up towards that reveal where it would be revealed that, Legacy's been training under a Beastar this entire time. But it turns out, no, it's only one Beastar, the Sublime Beastar, which was Yafia, which I feel is wasted potential. There should have been multiple Beastars, But it turns out Beastars is plural, and apparently Legacy just made it up because there's only ever been one Beastar. So yeah, wasted, but still not wasted, because just like how Yafia and what he was doing around the city, his actions were validated. Gohin's actions up until now have been validated. What he was doing was not a waste. It is worth it. He is making a difference. More so than I feel Yafia is, because, all he's doing is just like, he's not necessarily fixing the problem, but what Gohin's doing, it's essentially like a permanent solution to a temporary problem, rehabilitating them, helping them get back their compassion for herbivores, setting them on the right track to better themselves. That's an excellent solution, and that's an act of philanthropy that I just love to see. Man, I could talk all day about Gohin, but yeah, we're at the last one. Shoot, I'm at the 2-hour mark. I talk forever. Jeez, this is gonna be my longest video, but this is the last one, promise. Legacy. Where am I gonna put Legacy? It's settled. Legacy's God tier. Here's why. Legacy is a special character in the sense that Legacy represents a little bit of everybody. Legacy represents like the socially awkward, the socially inept, but Legacy isn't a doomed character. Like, Legacy, in my opinion, is a character that shows that you can be better, right? You're not the circumstances that you were born into, because just following this guy has just been a roller coaster of emotions. Like, his story is it's beautiful. Like, he went from this shy, socially awkward teenager, this shy, depressed, socially awkward teenager, to this furious crime fighter in like the matter of a few months, right? In like the matter of a year. Like, think of it how we started the series with Legacy. A depressed wolf, like, you didn't know the circumstances as why yet until you go further in the series. Basically depressed, basically missing that spice in his life, like, but deep down you see that he has a heart of gold, even though he's like awkward though. But then you see him mature, and Legacy as a character isn't completely doomed, how I feel like most people who are like socially awkward see themselves, right? Because it's super easy to relate to Legacy in the circumstances that he finds himself in, right? He's just so relatable as a character, because hell, like, the traits that he shows, he's, at first he's shy, he's timid, right? But when the situation demands it, Legacy steps up and he uses his strength for the good of others, right? It's hardly ever for himself. Like, Legacy's simultaneously the most selfish character in this show and also the most selfless character in this show. Like, Legacy will move mountains for his friends, right? But at the same time, he will also like enforce his like will and beliefs on anyone he crosses that doesn't align with his, right? Legacy is also the definition of a self-made man, right? Legacy saw what he was at first, this socially inept wolf who needs help, right? Who wants to be better so he can rise to the occasion. So what did he do? Legacy did what I feel like a lot of people like want to do but just don't do out of laziness or circumstance or whatever excuse there is. He saw a shortcoming in himself, and he decided to better himself. He didn't mope, right? He wanted the girl. He wanted to be able to protect the girl. So what did he do? Legacy sought power, and he sought strength, and he gained allies because of that. Like, you would think, like, with his nature, Legacy would be this protagonist who's reactive, and he very much was at the start, but then he starts gaining more of that confidence, after each confrontation, and he starts believing in himself a lot more, right? And he starts becoming a lot more competent at what he's doing, and he starts gaining that confidence, and a perfect thing, like if you read the series or follow my reviews, whichever is easier, notice how Legoshi doesn't slouch anymore. That was one of Legoshi's defining characteristics, how he would always hunch his shoulders so he wouldn't seem as tall or intimidating to herbivores, right? So he wouldn't scare anyone. Someone who's very much afraid of himself and his own power, but he went from that to embracing his own power and using it for others, right? In service of others. And he stands tall now doing it. Legoshi doesn't slouch anymore. He speaks his mind now, right? He's very direct, and he's socially awkward, but that doesn't mean he's hopeless. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure we've all experienced like social fear or anxiety at some point, right? But we find a way to make it through it anyway. That's what Legoshi did. Yeah. He even thrived. And one thing I love about his character, he's not afraid to take risks. Like, he understands his circumstances, and from where he was before, he decides, like, I love Legoshi's character because of simplicity. He decided, like, okay, this is my life now. These are my circumstances. That doesn't mean I still can't make the most of it and live a life that I would be comfortable with, right? That I truly want. That 9 to 5, settling down with like a wolf couple, and just living out my life in sales. Yeah, that life's not for me. I'm dropping out of school, right? And I'm gonna find my place in the world as a tail wagging misfit of society. That's what got me. Like right after the Riz arc, right? That scene with him like deciding he's gonna leave school, but looking out over the city on top of the hill, like from the ocean to the city. That's where his life really started. The moment he decided he wasn't gonna finish school. I'm not saying don't finish school. Finish school, get your education, but you know, he realized there was more out there for him to learn that wasn't in a school setting, and he went for it, and he was rewarded for it, right? For taking that initiative to take his life. So Legoshi's just awesome, man. And the lengths he went to for Haru. When I talk about seeking power, he also sacrificed his power when he ripped out his own fangs, right? To show his conviction, because just like his grandfather said, like strength, pacifism or morals, or what's it called? Your beliefs mean nothing if you're not strong enough to uphold them, right? That's what Legoshi was doing the entire time. Like I mentioned before, how Legoshi's whole arc was a path of self-destruction. That it was true, but it was because he took a lot of self-destructive paths, and we get to learn why Legoshi's the way he is through his family life and the circumstances surrounding his mother and grandmother as to why he is, which puts into context the traits that he has. But we get to see also the transformation, right? Him taking the time to learn about other cultures, right? Like with Zagwan, every character he's met has been influential, you know, in his growth as a character. And as a result of that, Legoshi became a more complete character because of his willingness to learn and understand, right? It's really inspirational. Like, Legoshi is a complete man. Not only that, Legoshi doesn't need to work anymore. He got money from Yafia for completing the job against Melon, so he can support Haru. He has his record expunged. He has the perfect life. Now, he's a complete character. He's complete in his belief. He's complete physically. Legoshi is a physical specimen, even for Grey Wolves, because of his Komodo dragon genes. right? He has a kind heart, right? He has resources now. He has influence. He has it all. And it's easy to see why at the end Haru's insecurity started coming up again, because even she said it. He's changed, right? And she felt kind of like how Jack felt. She felt like she's being left behind. She's been left behind. Which is true in the sense. Legacy still has, like, his own issues. Like, he has to work through, but they weren't as severe anymore. Like, throughout this entire thing, we get to see Legacy work through his trauma and work through his own issues and become a better version of himself than what he started out as. And that's truly inspirational, and that's why I love Legacy's character. That's why he's God tier, because he shows that you can be better. Like, Legacy is the epitome. It's the epithet. It's like the cream of the crop of what carnivores can be, right? And it goes with this relationship with Louis too. Like, it shows that carnivores can be better. Legacy had meat, but it was consensual. That's what relationship, like, it was an understanding, right? And that goes to that can apply to multiple carnivores as well throughout the show. Not the show, the manga, right? To have that respect for life and understand where it comes from, and thanking them for the meal, for giving their life so you can live. Because that's essentially what happened between him and Louis. Consensual predation. But yeah, Legacy's proof that herbivores can be better and that there is a place for hybrids in the world. He's gonna be an awesome dad. Like, if we ever get another spin-off showing life after it's all said and done, when he's like older, like, it'd be awesome. But these are all the reasons why Legacy is a god tier character, and I wish we had more representation in like different manga of characters like Legacy. Don't get me wrong, Legacy still can be dumb, but that's why we have Louis here, who can cover his shortcomings, because these two are meant to be paired up as opposites who need each other. Man, and his training under Gohin, absolute fire. And Gohin teaching Legacy, like, hey, like, carnivores were born into their circumstance and they can't be blamed for that. That was my favorite lecture that Gohin gave Legacy. When Legacy asked the question, hey, why don't you just turn the carnivores into the police? Why would I do that? They can't help what they were born into. My job is to get them back on track. You shouldn't be so quick to condemn them, Legacy. That's hypocritical, because you're a carnivore as well. I don't know. Gohin and Legacy, just go. But Gohin's the real goat. Like, I'd put Gohin at number 1. I'd put Legacy at number 2. I really want Louis in God tier. Screw it. I'm putting Louis in God tier. Because after all is said and done, Louis is a character that truly deserves God tier status. Because he's just GOAT. Oh man, I finally made it through. This was awesome to do, much longer than I expected. I had a lot to say, but if you watch my reviews, you know I'm wordy. I can be very wordy and opinionated, but yeah. Now that that's out of my system, I will see you during whatever else I decide to do. Be looking out for that To the Moon playthrough. As soon as I get the audio and video quality correct, I'll be doing that. So yeah, it's been fun. I'll see you later. Bye.